Brazil is one of the largest export economies in the world. During the last 5 years, the exports of Brazil have increased at an annualized rate of 3.7%, from 205 billion in 2008 to 247 billion in 2013. Chemical accounts for 5.1% of the total export in Brazil. The percentage of coffee dropped a lot, and it's only 2%. Automotive parts account for 7.2%. And the crude oil is 5.3%. Iron ore takes the lead at 13.5% of the total export in Brazil. Footwear is only 0.5%. Poultry meat accounts for around 3%. Soybean ranks second, which accounts for 9.3%. And the sugar is nearly 5% of the total export in Brazil. Now let's take a step further to look at the specific exports of iron ore and coffee in Brazil.
Hey, Kangnan, how is it going?
Hi, great. How about you?
Yeah, great. What are you drinking?
Yeah, I'm drinking coffee. It tastes so good, so smooth. Definitely should have it.
Yeah, let me have a try.
Yeah. How about that?
Great.
Really? Yeah, as far as I know, great coffee in the world always come from Brazil. And the coffee export in Brazil accounts for 50 or 60% of the total export scale. You know that?
Yeah, but I think your opinion has been out of date, and
Really?
recently the export scale of the Brazil has been changed a lot.
How did it change?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, your opinion has been correct. The export of coffee has accounted for over 50 or 60% of its whole export scale, but currently the iron ore has been the major force to driving up its whole export scale. It mainly accounts for about 50 or more than 50%.
That much?
And do you know which is its biggest importer for its iron ore?
Actually, I have no idea.
Just have a guess.
What about China?
Yeah, definitely correct.
Really?
Yeah, China has been developing its economy at a really fast pace for over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And the investment has been the major force to driving up its economy, mainly referring to the real estate investment and real estate building. And as is known to all that iron ore has been part of the greatest ingredient for the whole building process, and I think that is part of the reason why the trading pattern for the Brazil has been changed so much.
Wow, that's awesome. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Coffee production in Brazil is responsible for about a third of all coffee, making Brazil by far the world's largest producer, a position the country has held for the last 150 years. The crop first arrived in Brazil in the 18th century, and the country had become the dominant producer by 1840s. Coffee remains an important export for Brazil, but its importance has declined in the last 50 years due to increase in other global productions, such as iron ore. Coffee export as a percentage of total exports was over 50% between 1850s and 1960s, peaking in 1950 with 63.9%. The percentage began to decline in the 1960s, when the other export-heavy sectors expanded. With mining technology becomes more and more advanced since 1960s, Brazil started to find itself abundant in iron ore resources, mainly produced in Minas Gerais, Mato Grosso do Sul, and northern Peru. Iron ore starts to become one of its major export stuff and contributes more and more to Brazil's economy. In 1962, the coffee exports only accounts for 49% of its total export scale, and iron ore accounts for 7%. In 1980s, coffee export was down to 13% of total, and iron ore climbs to 10%. In 2013, Coffee no longer weighs the most in Brazil's economy, accounting for only 2.1%, while iron ore took the lead with 13%. Then let's think more deeply about this transformation. Is this shift of Brazil's export pattern only attributed to abundant iron ore resources? No, this is just from the perspective of supplying. It is the growing economy of the whole world that counts more for this transformation, which is from the perspective of demanding. Iron ore is the key ingredient to steel, which is used primarily in structural engineering applications, mainly for infrastructure building and real estate building. Let's take China as an example. China has built a relationship with Brazil since 1974, became strategic partnership in 1993, and became the biggest export partner since 2009. As is known to all, China has developed its economy with unexpected high pace during the last decade, depending on investment in real estate and infrastructure building. Accordingly, the expansion of Chinese economy is highly connected to consumption of iron ore. As you can see from the chart, China is the largest consumer of iron ore. In order to grasp this huge opportunity, the iron ore production in Brazil also boomed in reaction to China's great demand, seizing great benefit from this pattern transformation. Then we can tell that the shift of export pattern results from Brazil obtaining abundant resources to meet the main development trend from the globe. Next is the video talking about the current phenomenon of Chinese real estate and its connection to Brazil trade pattern.
Hey, what's up? What are you doing, man?
I'm looking at some news.
What's that?
I find some interesting news like the Brazil steelmaker CSN is going to bankrupt.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of CSN?
CSN is the largest producer in Brazil?
Yeah.
In iron
Yeah. Because the company is going to bankruptcy due to the demand of steel decreasing in China. It used to be the biggest export destination of Brazil steel, and just some other reason like because the Brazil cannot consume this steel domestically, so they have to dump it into the global market. But if they enter the global market, they have to compete with other countries like Australia, some European countries. So they have to cut the price, which make the industry even worse. Yeah, what do you think?
Oh. So the main reason is that is due to China's demand. So I guess one of the most reason is because of the Chinese real estate market. During 2005 to 2009 or something, the housing price in China just tripled, and even after that, it increased. So that really helps the mainly export of iron ore like Australia or Brazil to increase. But recently, there's a sort of decrease in the demand. So I guess that's the reason why.
Okay, I got your point. But recently I heard in news says that China's housing price is incredibly high.
Yeah.
So I think the high housing price should increase the demand of the steel. So which means the steel industry of Brazil should be better off.
Well, that actually depends because have you ever heard of the supply side economic reform in China?
No? Could you explain that to me?
Well, so the Chinese government tried to destock and to cut the excess supply, cut the excess industrial capacity. So there's a lot of empty buildings in China. So they're now actually trying to sell more house instead of build more. So I guess that's the reason why.
Okay, I know it. So I have a class in 5 minutes.
Okay, what's that?
Yeah, trade class,
Oh.
policy.
Okay.
I have to go.
Okay.
Alright, see you.
See you next time.
Positive investor sentiment toward Chinese property developers should be sustainable in the near term, especially since stronger consensus seems to have been reached within China's top policy-making circle upon conclusion of country's annual Central Economic World Conference. The consensus is that to avoid hard-handing in the real economy, it is essential to facilitate and accelerate the destocking process of domestic housing inventory via government policy assistance. Quality Chinese residential property developers trading below historical average valuation should continue to outperform. Over the past decades, China's new construction and land development stays very high level in most of the time. After 2012, the real estate development slows down, and the increase turned to be negative in late 2014.
The most striking information of data in the whole year of 2015 from the Bureau of Statistics of China is the rapid reduction in land purchase by developers. Although land sales do not normally follow a smooth monthly flow, the 31.7% drop in land sales to home builders during January and December can mark a major shift in developer confidence. Within this growing pipeline of housing, however, there are signs that real estate companies are becoming more selective about their projects, with less land being sold but for higher values. Although the property companies continue to invest in new projects, overall investment in the industry keeps decreasing. China's real estate developers have made their solution to the current housing slump plain enough through the reduction in new housing starts. In the meantime, the developer will need to work to sell off their excess inventory and keep their creditor calm.